Oh, there we go. I gotta unmute myself and people can hear me. How's everybody doing? Joe, you're on mute too, buddy. Took you off
There we go. Hello. Who are you?
Who am I? Yeah. You like I moved locations in this too. And apparently the light that's over me just started flickering and going out. So this is gonna be a if you see a strobe effect going on me, that was not by intent. This is totally by a light bulb going out. We'll give everybody a couple minutes to be able to come in here. If everybody would preferably turn on your video, just so I can see who I'm talking with, get some reactions to the stuff that we're teaching today, and try to make this interactive. I'm gonna end up showing this into, oh, there we go. Hopefully I can pay attention to let people in here. It was scary. I just got a thing that said I have lost the internet connection, which I might have.
You're on now. You did take a hit, but
well, that's not good.
Yeah,
I've been in the spot for like the last hour and a half with no problem. There we go. Share screen. All right, there we go. Everybody see that okay?
Yep.
You guys see a PowerPoint? Awesome. All right, so we'll go ahead and jump into this. So this is the nuts and bolts talking about Facebook leads and kind of brand it as being success with Facebook leads. We're going to cover going into this class. So I'm just going to talk about kind of internet leads in general, a little information about those. Okay, that does probably. Some of the challenges with internet leads as in general, challenges specifically with Facebook leads, the opportunities that are presented with Facebook, a little bit about targeting and retargeting with these, and then also how to set up a campaign. And then we'll wrap it up with some Q&A. Don't be afraid to stop with a question when we're in a section. Give me a chance to wrap up with whatever the section is before asking those questions, but we will save that time for the very end so we can kind of recap on everything we talked about. Hopefully. There we go. So quick, a little bit about me. My name is Ryan Conway. I am the lead agent for the Happiness Homes Group. We're formerly known as the Conway Group, and apparently I just didn't want to have my name on the front of it anymore, make it more about the entirety of our team. So we just rebranded earlier this year. I've been selling real estate since 2007, so I'm about a 14-year veteran of the Central Ohio market. And I used to serve as our tech trainer for Consultants Realty until I stepped down about midway through last year to kind of focus on real estate sales practice. There you go. All right, so let's talk about Facebook leads. So Facebook, why this is an important place for you to consider as part of your business is that Facebook is amongst the most frequented websites with one of the largest user bases that willfully provide their contact information and intimate details about their life choices and events. It's basically a marketer's dream. Anybody on here not on Facebook? Actually, if I want to get engagement, everybody raise their hands. I can just say who here is on Facebook? Pay attention. Anybody not raising their hand? Exactly. So pretty much everybody's on there. I think their total user thing was like really ridiculous number. People are using in the United States, they're using all across the world. I believe the US population that is on Facebook's user base only makes up about 8% of their total users. So everybody is on Facebook. And did you know that the average Facebook user actually clicks on about 12 sponsored ads per month? There's about one sponsored ad every 2.5 days. to click on there. So if you're gone onto the mobile app, about 80% of the time, most people are using the mobile app, or they're going on the desktop of it, and you scroll through your main news feed on there. Usually about the, I don't know, third or fourth post, you'll see if there's a sponsored ad post. You keep scrolling and you show up and see more sponsored stuff for all sorts of different things. Recently, I've been getting a bunch of random ones. I have no idea where they even came from. But there's a nice thing on each of the sponsored ads in the top right corner. It'll have like 3 dots. You click on that and say, why am I seeing this ad? And you can click on that and you can see kind of the targeting terms that they're using to see why their ads are showing up on your feed on there. It's pretty interesting. I've seen recently a lot of real estate agents kind of doing this the wrong way. And I don't know if they just didn't know the targeting features existed on there, but they have been targeting all of the United States, all people over the age of 18, and that's about it. So it's hitting all these different things. I'm getting people in California, I'm getting New York, all advertising to me. Not really as another real estate agent, just a person in general promoting whatever they're promoting. And in addition to ads being clicked on every 12 a month on there, regular Facebook posts, organic posts that people are putting out there, it's not, you might say, why should I bother advertising on there? Because I can just post on my page, on my personal stuff, and be able to target all the people I know, get in front of them, and that's totally free to me. The reason why is because the average engagement rate for Facebook posts is only about 0.18%. Is incredibly low. You post something, a very low percentage of the people that actually follow you and are connected with you will actually see what you post on there until somebody starts liking it, commenting it, and it's telling the Facebook algorithms on there that this is a relevant post. This is important. People are engaging with it. It shows it to other people that they're connected with, that you're connected with, and it starts promoting it that way, but it requires that engagement. So it has to be very engaging content for organic non-paid posts to actually start showing up, whereas doing paid advertisements, sponsored ads on there have a much higher rate of actually getting displayed. And really it's because it's backed by money. The more money that goes into it, the more reach you're going to get out of it. There are diminishing returns. You can't just say, I'm going to put a ridiculous sum of money behind this ad and that's my silver bullet key to success on there. All things good in moderation, you'll get those diminishing returns. So let's see here. So overall challenges when it comes to internet leads. I found this incredible resource that was put out in 2014 by Keller Williams called the 3 L's Blueprints. If you get a chance, go into MyKW, search for that, the 3 L's Blueprints. Joe, I'll kick it to you real quick. What are the 3 L's?
Leadership, leverage, and leads. Sorry, leads, listings, leverage.
There you go.
Got it.
So fantastic blueprint that talks, thank you, Joe. The fantastic blueprint that goes through both the challenges and the opportunities and all things, talking about the challenges and opportunities in working with buyers, working with sellers, and using ISAs, OSAs, using showing assistants that's for the leverage and the listings part of it, but the leads part, it goes through and talks about referral business. It talks about internet leads. It talks about open houses, FSBOs, expireds. I think there's a couple other ones, but it talks about what you should know going into each one of these. Are they, you might have more challenges of competition that might take longer time. And so this is what I actually gathered from this. I think it's 1.2 is the section of it talking about the internet in general. So internet leads, there's a dilution results in low quality leads on there. There's just a growing number of online real estate platforms for consumers to use, and they're using a combination of those platforms at any given time. So somebody that comes to your website, registers on Zillow, registers on realtor.com, they're shopping all over the place. They're searching on Google, looking for homes. There's just a lot of leads that are out there, but it's actually not making any impact whatsoever on the number of home sales actually occur in a year. Year after year, generally in the US, there's about 6 million different home sales that occur. The number of online inquiries is increasing at a much greater rate than that. I think a few years back, it was down at maybe 20 million online inquiries a year. It is now well over 100 million online inquiries a year. Yet the number of closed sales is still staying right around 6 million across the country. So what that's telling us is there's way more inquiries, and sometimes it's the same person, the same people going multiple times on different sites, different platforms, different listings, inquiring. And so it's not just creating more leads, it's sometimes more of the same people just clicking in different places. Increased competition from other agents for internet leads. It's becoming more accessible for people to get into this kind of space and advertise for internet leads. So people can pay to have distribution on Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com. There's about, I mean, even within List Hub, we advertise to about 900 different platforms that are out there for searching for homes, nationally, regionally, state by state. There's just so many different places where people can consume online real estate listings that are out there. So there's just so much competition that exists, and people are becoming more in tune with this, especially as more younger agents, more tech savvy agents are coming into the industry. There's just more people getting into that. And that also ends up raising the cost for this as well. Another challenge when it comes to internet leads is that agents are just not staying with internet leads for the long run. We got another slide that comes up here. I'll talk specifically about the Facebook ones, but just it's the fortunes and the follow-up. It's no different than any other lead source on there, where when somebody inquires wherever it comes from, only about 50% of salespeople actually follow up once on that inquiry. And the reality is that from about the 5th attempt through the 12th attempt is about where 80% of sales actually occur. So it's that fortune to follow up. It's rare that somebody's just going to call up something and be ready to make a purchase decision right that second. One, they have to build trust. One, they have to create a rapport. And they're just maybe really early on in their decision-making process on there and not ready to take action at that stage when they start inquiring and gathering information about something. And that's true for internet, it's true for Facebook, it's true for things outside of real estate as well. And then lastly, the other challenge with internet leads, especially if it's doing through platforms, Zillow, Realtor.com, is that they have really high barriers to entry. Sorry, part of that got hyphenated in the text there. But I remember when I first got started in internet-based advertising, I got called up by Zillow, I got called up by Realtor.com, and was being offered the opportunity to advertise on their platform to be able to buy a percentage share of a zip code. And back then, it was 2011. I think it was Realtor.com was offering me like a third, 33% of Grandview for only $100 a month. So I did the math at the time, get the sort of exposure, one in every 3 times somebody goes onto a listing on that platform and took a look at home and Grandview. My name, face, and a call to action click button was right there for people to inquire about that and for me to receive their lead information on there. Did the math on it, $100 a month, average sales price in Grandview, average commission, let's say, was $8,000. You can kind of do the math on that. I only need to knock down one closing every, I don't know what that is, 4+ years for it to even break even. So at that point, the return on investment was extremely great at that point. And just over the course of the next 10 years from that point, it just gradually, consistently got higher and higher. I got a call up from rep, I think a year later, hey, your price is going up 4 times. Am I getting 4 times as many leads, 4 times as many opportunities? No, just the price is going up because the demand is going up. And it just continued like that to the point now, if you're wanting to advertise on those platforms, you're easily going to be spending about $5,000 or more per month just to have the opportunity for just a handful of leads at that point. I've seen where they're, especially Zillow, the leads are only or somewhere between about $200 to $500 per lead that are coming in. And that's not a guaranteed closed sale at all. That's just the opportunity at the bat to get that lead that could be coming from another source, but is also being shotgunned out to other agents. So it's highly competitive that you're paying that money to not have any sort of guaranteed return on it. Now we'll get into talking about the specific challenges of Facebook leads. Most internet leads that come in, Facebook especially, are about 18 months away from actually taking action. They're just in the fact-finding gathering information at that stage. Even especially Facebook, it's a disruptive medium. Most people aren't going on Facebook and saying, I'm going to find my next house today when I pull out my phone and log into it. It's something about 34 minutes a day people are actually spending on Facebook. They're not going in there with a high intent of necessarily looking at real estate. But when it comes into a meme and it attracts their attention, piques their interest, they're going to go ahead and click on that. And they're going to take a look at what's on the other side of that information, to take a look at a new listing, to see the IDX results on your website for other homes that are available. That might be golf course homes or homes with a pool that you're at, whatever you're advertising on there, you're just piquing their interest. But they're not going to be ready to say, hey, I want to come buy that place right that second. So you have to prepare yourself for understanding that the fortune is going to be in the follow-up. It's going to be about cultivating a large number of these leads to start building a pipeline. And one of the big challenges too is that their contact information isn't always accurate. Now, when people are on Facebook, myself, I think I've been on there since college. I'm the same age as Mark Zuckerberg. He was doing that in his dorm room. I was preparing to sell real estate. I should have built Facebook. I think it was much more lucrative, but I registered back then. So that was, I don't even know how many years ago at this point, but it's well over 10 years. And surprisingly, actually, it still had the same phone number that I did then, but there's a number of people that they might have changed phone numbers. Maybe they were on their parents' plan when they're in college, and then they went off and got their own plan, and then they switched numbers at that time. Maybe they had a stolen phone, or just switched in general because they moved to a different location. We get a lot of times when people register and we get their contact information, it's still their college email address too. osu.edu, I think ohio.u.edu. They still have that registered in Facebook. So you're going to get contact information that's outdated. It's not always accurate because they change phone numbers. So it's just understanding that that's part of it. That's one of the challenges. It doesn't mean that it's intentional that they went on there. And I mean, we'll get some of those that are, screw you at screwyou.com. Things like that. That's definitely a rejection. That's a lead you're definitely going to want to trash on that. That's somebody that has no interest in making any sort of purchase decision. But if you get stuff that's just the wrong phone number or maybe the wrong email address that's on there, it doesn't mean they don't want to talk to you. It just means that they had the wrong stuff that was registered on there, but they still have the intent of looking at whatever you are offering and advertising, and that they have some degree of interest in a real estate decision. So the important thing to know for taking on some of these Facebook leads, because of how long it's going to be able to take to convert them into closed business, and because of the contact information challenges that exist, you have to be committed to having good follow-up systems that nurture them for the long haul. And also skip tracing are absolute essentials. So what exactly is skip tracing? That's dealing with the bad contact information. We want to have full contact records for people. So we're ideally looking to have the correct name for them, phone number, email address, their physical address, or social media. If I have any of this information and can identify at least what is correct in that, I'm able to use that to be able to find the other correct information. Joe and I were just talking earlier. Joe's a member of my team, and we're talking about some of the leads that are coming in. And we use a site called Spokeo, SPOKEO.com. To be able to do skip tracing. There's some other sites as well that you can use for finding contact information. But if I'm able to use a phone number, I'll drop it in there. It'll search through a bunch of different databases. It'll search a bunch of different social media sites, and it'll try to find other email addresses, names, physical addresses, all stuff that would be connected with that phone number, and be able to provide that back to me. And for some records, I might have 7, 8, 9 different phone numbers that show up connected to a single email address, or a bunch of different email addresses to a phone. And it's just a matter of trying to use some of those. And I've done skip tracing on myself through that site. And I was shocked when I found the home phone number for the house that I was growing up. And actually somebody recently just tried to steal my identity. I got a call from Target's like credit card processing thing. And they're like, yeah, I think your identity has been stolen. I just want to make sure this information is correct. They had like totally wrong email address. It was a Yahoo one. I don't have any Yahoo email addresses. And then they said a phone number ending in, I think it was 4457. And the last four of the number I had when I was growing up, our house phone, and that showed up in Spokio. So information can be correct in there. There can still be some wrong information. But as long as I have any one of these, I have a means of being able to connect with somebody. If I have their phone number, I can call them, I can text them. If I have an email address, I can send them emails. If I have a physical address, I can send them postcards, other forms of mailers. If I have their social media, I can be able to send direct messages to them through those platforms. Oops. I'll skip that too far. So the other piece of it is having long-term nurtured systems and ways of staying in front of people for that long haul, for that average of 18 months, to stay relevant, to create top of mind awareness with them. So there's about 3 essential things I'm going to need to do this. I'm going to need some touch/drip campaigns, where first, when they come in as a new lead, I'm first seeking to qualify them. I'm using the acronym in here, LP Mama. Be sure to write this down. What LP Mama stands for is location, price, motivation, agent, mortgage, and appointment. This is what you should be trying to do anytime you have a new lead coming in. Don't jump ahead of yourself, try to figure out what exactly that they were trying to do just because they clicked on a house that was $500,000 in Dublin that's already in contract. Give them a call. Get in touch with them. When you are able to connect with them, verify some information when you're talking with them and said, hey, you registered on our website to take a look at homes in Dublin. Are you looking specifically in Dublin? Are you considering any of the areas around that? What's important to you about finding a home in Dublin? Is $500,000 about the price point you're looking at? Are you trying to stay under that? Are you trying to stay around that? What's your reason for taking a look at homes in the Dublin area around $500,000 right now? Are you moving up to this? Are you currently in the area and renting? Are you relocating to the area? Find out what the motivation is for them to take a look at making a real estate decision. Are they currently working with an agent? Are they in that process? And you might get, Joe and I were talking about this earlier too, and some people, oh yeah, I got an agent. That's not a complete blow off rejection at that point. It's just an automatic instinctual thing that people say, just no different than somebody said, oh yeah, I was just looking. Well, what were you just looking for? Agent thing on there too. On average, most people are going to know about 10 real estate agents. They just do. Their neighbor, a family member, somebody, another parent on their kid's soccer team. If you think about it, before you got into real estate, there probably were a number of real estate agents that you already knew at that point, and most people do. So they're going to say, oh yeah, I got an agent. Well, ask them about that and say, okay, what's the name of the agent that you're working with? If they're not truly working with one, chances are they're not going to be able to recall that name right off the top of their head. And so if they can't even name their agent, chances are they don't really have a strong relationship or any sort of formal agreement with them. So I asked them that question, oh yeah, I got this guy, he's down the street. Or okay, have you guys been out to take a look at homes or met to talk about the current market? Chances are they're going to say no, coming to that, if they are not truly in a relationship with somebody. So just digging deeper into some of those and not just taking that surface level rejection when they come in, but diving a little bit deeper to unearth the truth. It's hard for somebody to, I think, tell multiple lies in a string of events in a pattern like that. People are going to eventually let the truth out on that. But during this time, we're going to at least qualify with that. They may not be ready to have an appointment at that point, but that's totally fine. We're at least trying to make an introduction. We're trying to build some rapport with them up at the beginning. And we want to be able to maintain TOMA, top of mind awareness of people for that 18-month period or beyond. And we're going to do that consistently through making scheduled calls. You might, if they're saying that they're going to be sooner than that, you might look at doing a call bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, or span out to 6 months or every 6 months, depending on what they're saying, whatever their situation is. You're going to want to schedule those things out. Sending periodically, sending them texts, sending them some emails with value that you can provide to them about what's going on in the real estate market. It might be putting them on a monthly newsletter. They tend to say that you're going to have a higher success converting people through emails if they're just plain text, simple, direct, to the point, and with a single call to action on them. So if you're going to do a monthly newsletter, I would recommend you do that more with your Sphere, your HabNet databases, and not with new inbound leads. It's kind of a recipe for creating unsubscribes and for you not being able to send future emails to those people. Besides touch and drip campaigns, you're also going to want to have listing alerts. Whatever they came in on, whatever they're looking for, whatever you found out, that location, that price, that information from them, you're going to want to set them up with having some sort of drip of new listings, price reductions, status changes for homes that are meeting their criteria that they gave you over the phone. Even if you're not ready, if you're not getting into that point of having an appointment with somebody, is to at least have those bare bones information of, hey, we want Dublin 500,000. We don't need to get into specifics. If it can be general and get more homes in front of them for that long haul, we're just trying to consistently create that top of mind awareness. And most people know, been selling homes for a while, you know that most people aren't ready to have that appointment. They're not ready to go run out and get pre-qualified and go through that whole process sometimes until the home shows up. They find the perfect home. It's Friday at 4:30. Hey, we really want to go see this home and we really want to buy this and be competitive. Well, have you gotten pre-qualified yet? No, even though I told you 6 months ago to do it. No, haven't done all those things yet. And so they get really motivated. So those listing alerts help to keep that prompted to trigger that. They're probably not going to get that home if they're not ready at that point, but it's a step that helps to engage and move closer to having that appointment and preparing them so that they don't miss out on the next one. We're also going to set people up with neighborhood nurtures or some sort of market snapshot, market reports, depending on what system you're using on there. You're going to do this for both sellers and for buyers to keep them updated on market trends for the area of specific or even general interest that they're looking at. So the listing alerts give you the information about new listings, price reductions, all that. The market snapshot type stuff gives you more about statistical type stuff. Are there more listings? Are there more listings coming on? Are there more listings going under contract? Are the days on market reducing? Is the percentage of sales price to list price ratio rising? Let them know, is this looking more like a buyer's market, a seller's market? Which direction is it trending? Give them that information, and it helps to prompt them how their decision making process goes. If somebody was only paying attention to the real estate market this year back in, say, March or April timeframe, they would think, hey, it's crazy market right now, competitive bids, we've got to waive every single contingency and go 10, 15, 20% over the asking price. Whereas now, this time of year, we are still experiencing that in some markets and then with some homes, but we are starting to see the number of listings go up, the number of days on market go up, some of that percentage of sales price to list price ratio actually dropping down, just because we're into the school year now, we're heading towards the holidays, and we're seeing some of those shifts. Those shifts show up for people in those neighborhood nurtures, market snapshot information. So it's important to be the provider of that information. So when they recognize that those changes are making it more favorable for them to engage in the real estate activity, your name, your logo, all that stuff is right there with that. And so that's your top of mind awareness that when it's time to take action on it, they're reaching out to you. And so again, I went over that LP Mama qualifying. If you guys didn't get a chance to write that down, here's exactly what that acronym stands for. So location, price, motivation, agent, mortgage, appointment. Give everybody a chance to write that down if they haven't yet. All right. So one of the benefits of using Facebook for advertising is really two things. We're going to either be retargeting, or we're going to be targeting people, or we're retargeting them. What targeting means is that we're going to be finding new opportunities. We're going to be advertising to specific locations. You can do it within radiuses. You can do it of a specific address. There's been some changes where you can't go within inside of a 15-mile radius. I'll get into that a little bit. It had to do with, because we are in real estate and we have to respect fair housing laws. So Facebook actually had to make some changes. They had to go in front of the Supreme Court or whatever, in front of Congress, and actually defend themselves on these things and make some adjustments, because people are abusing advertising practices. And so the real estate became part of that too. So that we are a special ad category specifically for housing. So we can't necessarily advertise one property to say, I'm only going to advertise this to people that are between 25 to 35, because there might be people older than that or younger than that want to buy in those areas. And so now we're discriminating based on age. And you can imagine all the other ways that you could possibly discriminate people with advertisement. Facebook used to have all that demographic information that was in there, the age brackets like that, I believe race, all sorts of stuff, and it was getting abused. So because of that, we're pretty restricted on some of that stuff, and it's changed the way that we're advertising with targeting, but we can still do it geographically, we can still hit an area. And most of the filtering is being done by interest. What things have they interacted with? What type of pages? Are they interacting with Lowe's, Home Depot? Well, if they're doing that, there's a chance that they're doing work on their home. If they're doing work on their home, is it because they just recently purchased a home, or is it because they're preparing their home because they're thinking about selling, making a move? So Facebook's got a bunch of different algorithms, and they take stuff like that and create predictive analytics to say these are the people we believe are most likely to be looking for a home or looking to make a real estate move. If they currently are liking Zillow, Realtor.com's Facebook business pages, we can target that as well. So we can siphon off some of the audience that is already out there for sites like Zillow and Realtor.com and help to put our ads in front of those same people. That's one of the cool things about targeting. Retargeting is about bringing visitors back to your site, re-engaging with people you may already be engaged with in some way. They've come to your website. You can actually upload a customer list to Facebook as an audience, as a saved audience, and be able to target back to them with advertising. Now you might say, why would I spend more money to advertise to people I already know? Why wouldn't you? You should actually, for the people that are engaged, that already have some knowledge of who you are and what you have to offer, those are absolutely the people you want to continue to stay in front of, and actually should be spending more money towards being in front of them because they are so much engaged. They have a higher likelihood of turning into business than just, shotgunning it out to everybody imaginable that you don't already know. So you definitely want to be advertising to both of these things. If you're just at the beginning stages of building a database, of building audiences that you want to be able to advertise to, you want to start probably a little heavier on targeting, but then kind of transition budgets on advertising towards retargeting and keeping people coming back. So the essentials for advertising on Facebook are, I used to teach a lot of different classes on this stuff, and I always got the question, do I really need a Facebook business page? And the answer is yeah, absolutely. Because you cannot run ads through a personal page. You have to have a business page in order to have access to doing the ads accounts to be able to advertise. Just a requirement. It's absolutely free to put a business page together. It's really quick and easy. It only takes you about 5 minutes to be able to set one up, and you can get all sorts of ad creatives for your cover page. I think even use your headshot, but you can put all that, you can take that stuff from Canva, another free resource, to be able to build that stuff and put a business page together pretty quickly. Once you have that business page, then you can also set up an ads account. You can advertise through Command as well and connect it to that ads account, but you definitely need to have that ads account. You can do it directly there or through Command or through some other CRM type platforms that have that marketing platform, but it absolutely requires you do have that ads account with your Facebook business page. This is the only way to allow us to be able to target people within the confines of that special ad category for housing. People always ask me too, what about just boosting posts? You can boost posts, but it's not going to give you as tailored of being able to do the demographics and really hit specifically who you want to get it to. You actually have, for the most part, have no idea who it's going to, and you just boost a post. It's just whatever Facebook throws together based on what you're advertising. Say, well, we think it should go in front of these people, but you don't have that sort of control. So this gives you a little bit more, or a lot more control than that. It's totally free to set it up. Plus, obviously, what you're going to spend in ads to promote it. And when I say that you're spending ads on this too, it's not like what I said before about Zillow, that it's $5,000 a month or more. You could have a simple boosted post, or not boosted post, but a targeted post for $1 a day. That would get it out and have some reach and get out in front of people. If we're actually generating leads and specific with the intent of creating conversions and capturing lead information, it's generally about $1 to maybe $2 per lead you get captured on there. So you want to get about 100 leads that come in for that every month. Costs you somewhere between about $100 to $200 worth of advertising to do it. Pretty good ad spend. So what different things should we be advertising when we're using Facebook? Facebook is phenomenal for advertising you're just listed, you're just sold, and any open houses that you're promoting on there. Great way to target more buyers and to be able to show this to other sellers and attract them as well, based on, you know, showing how you present a property out there, what your success stories are with stuff that is recently sold, and then how you promote the actual marketing of the property with open houses too. With your websites as well, for your command websites, or if you use another provider on there, these are all just IDX websites that provide people with a public access to the MLS information through the different feeds. Most of these allow you to be able to create custom searches for things like price reductions, golf course homes, acreage, 4-bedroom homes, specific cities, school districts, and you can be able to take the URLs from those and be able to create a landing page of those properties. So if I just want to send people specifically to that, just looking at homes that have had price reductions in the last 7 days, I'm able to use my website to create that search and be able to drive people to that. So that doesn't require me to have a listing whatsoever to be able to promote and generate leads. I can use any type of search that's going to be relevant to people and target that group and be able to serve that up to them. You can also boost or advertise as well your blog posts on your website or any other sort of branded content, your first-time home buyer guide, your guide of how to prepare before listing and selling your home, whatever you want to do that provides value to consumers and helps to build trust with your brand. Those are all great things you should be advertising on Facebook. As I said, there's different platforms you can use. You can either go directly into Facebook and use their ads manager, gives you more control. There's also some insights and recommendations that they provide to you so you can help tailor and improve your ad campaigns that are on there. So this is really great if you're an advanced user or you're somebody that's pretty good with technology and has an aptitude to learn that stuff. I definitely recommend going through that. If you are somebody that doesn't want to get as deep into the weeds on this, but want to be able to have stuff that's kind of works really well for real estate and to have it connected with your command CRM as well, the command campaigns built into the system, those are really good to use as well. And I think we get that twice. There we go. All right, so for the purpose of this I've used command campaigns before. I tend to like a little bit more getting into the Facebook ads manager to be able to set up my campaigns and be able to advertise. So for this purpose, I'm going to show those and what that looks like. So I've taken a couple of screenshots of what it looks like when getting into the ads manager. You can get to this side of Facebook by going to business.facebook.com. That's where you're able to set up your account on there, be able to configure and set up the ads manager. And then this is generally what you would see within campaigns and the different ads within them. So the resource center provides some of those insights, but in campaigns, that's how I'm going to set up kind of the category of the advertising I'm going to do. So I have mine broken down right now into listing marketing. So anytime we have a new listing, a just sold, open house, anything like that, I'm going to advertise through that section. Retargeting site visitors and page likes is me specifically trying to send relevant value to people that have already been to our website, most likely because they've come through our listing marketing, or they've already engaged with more organic side of our Facebook page with any sort of post about stuff that we have going on, stuff like that. And I'm advertising actually in this both Facebook and Instagram. So if they're connecting with either one of those platforms, I'm able to advertise back to those people that have already engaged with us. And then I have some separate campaigns where I'm trying to target prospective sellers based on activity that they've shown on Facebook. And so within that listing marketing, I'll show you here, I got about 4 different properties that are being advertised. One just recently toggled off on there, but that's how I break those down in the ad sets. So those 4 properties right there are ad sets of the listing marketing campaign. When creating these campaigns too, this is what shows up in my ad sets for creating the targeting on this. You'll notice at the top right there that does say this is special ad categories. You do have to confirm and acknowledge that when setting up these campaigns. Facebook's pretty smart in recognizing what you're trying to do. If you're advertising real estate on here and said, hey, you got to go ahead and check this off. This is one of most common reasons why campaign or ad campaigns don't actually get started or say that they have errors in it is if you don't go in and check that box, it'll show up there and say, yes, this is specifically for housing. So make sure that that part's been configured. Then here, I'm creating a new audience, which creates a custom audience. I can pull from previous audiences I've done before, or I can build them new. Saved audiences is more the retargeting part of site visitors, page likes, stuff like that. But this one, I'm creating a new ad. I can set my location on here. I can, right now for the property that I'm showing here is for a property that was up in Marengo. And since Marengo is a little bit more rural and I wanted to pull in out, I wanted to be able to target both Marengo itself. I wanted to pull up from Mansfield, and I wanted to pull more from inside of Columbus. Last time I advertised a property that was in Marengo. It was like 1,600 square foot new build, no garage on 5 acres of land. It was hilarious, the reactions I got from people on that. If they were from, I would know if they were coming from Marengo or if they were coming from Columbus based on who they responded to, because the people in Marengo said, wow, the price is ridiculously high and you don't even get a garage and it's just down the street from trailer parks. Whereas people I had coming from Columbus, I had somebody come from German Village to come take a look at this house. And they're like, what, doesn't have a garage? No problem. We've never even seen one before. And this is so much space, 1,600 square feet. And look at all this, all this land. We're usually on top of everybody. And they consider the price really cheap. So I'm able to pull in from a whole different area to be able to promote this property. And I figured at the time is there's going to be people that want to get out of Columbus, get more space, and pay much lower in taxes. So I want to make sure that I'm advertising to them. And that's exactly how it works and exactly the type of people that it ended up selling for. So I can target that around the areas. I could even put the specific address in for the property there and then create a radius around that. The narrowest radius I mentioned before is 15 miles, just so it doesn't create any sort of geographic discrimination on there. There's been a lot of conversation around coming soon marketing about that. If I was promoting a property in Dublin and only had a sign out front, but what if the buyer is lives over in New Albany, and the only way they would see that property is because they drove past and saw the sign. That's geographic discrimination on there. So when we do coming soon, that's why it has to be in the MLS. That's so everybody has an equal chance to be able to see it when it's in that state. So this helps to create more of the advertising push towards those geographic areas though, and keep it around that and doesn't violate that stuff. Same age stuff, because we are in a housing category, it does not let me affect those or change those whatsoever. We are set that it has to be 18 to 65 plus on there. So I guess you can keep out the younger, the under 18, the non-housing age buying population on there, but it does have to stay from 18 and up on there. Same thing with gender as well. But under that, you see where the detailed targeting is on there. This is how I'm getting in front of people that are more likely to engage with my content, is by using interest. Since this was a property that was on just shy of 2 acres and is more country, rural type area, I put in stuff like land lot, land and houses. And these are not just keywords I just made up and just started typing in there. As I started typing land, lot, acreage, Facebook was giving me specific categories that already exist in there and said, this is showing people that like home, like house hunting, have engaged with pages in advertisement relative to specifically those things. So I'm using their algorithm to my advantage by clicking on those and using those categories. So I'm getting land and lot, land and house, a house, property, Trulia, single family detached home, residential area, homes.com, Zillow, house hunting, all these things. And on the right side, you'll see it has a meter on there that kind of tracks the potential reach based on this geographic area and the interest that I'm targeting. And you'd never want to be in the red. If it's too specific of an ad, it's not going to show up at all because it needs to have a large enough reach to be worthwhile, I guess, to Facebook. Nor do you want things to be so incredibly broad where you say, show me all of the United States, advertise this to everybody. Like, then it's not going to get, it's too spread out. It's not going to get showed up. You're not going to even be able to compete with the, as far as an ad budget to show up on everybody's thing. So you want to end up in that green. And generally this is about right for your potential reach of where you want to get is somewhere between, it's usually at least 50, 60,000 people, but ideally you want to probably be up here around 400,000-ish people in that area. So you'll see that meter get changed. Let's see. Oops, wrong direction. Uh-oh. 1 second. Oh, there we go. Further down, when I'm in the ads manager, it'll also show me the placements and I can affect exactly where it's going to be. So Facebook owns Instagram, so that's part of the advertising platform, but there's so many different ways it can be advertised. It can be in that main feed, it can be in stories, it can be in video feeds, it can be along the right side column, it can be in the Instagram shop, Messenger, all sorts of different places. So there's advertising. And I restrict mine down to the ones that I feel like the ad creative shows up the best. To show them the image of the property, to show them the call to action, and not have a lot of the information go disappearing on it. And I usually use more static images to advertise stuff, so I don't really want it to show up in videos as well, where people are looking for motion and things that are more engaging and interactive on there. So I remove it from the video feeds and focus more on the static kind of content. So in the feeds, the right side column, definitely want it to be on the mobile platform since most people are using mobile, especially looking at real estate. Along the right side as well, based on, this is a combination of the audiences I'm using and the kind of reach that we're trying to get in front of. In addition to my ad spend, it's going to show me how many people this is going to get in front of on a daily basis and how many conversions or leads it should generate based on my ad spend and the audiences I'm trying to target. So you can kind of play around with that based on, yeah, and you said before, you're gonna have some diminishing returns with that. If you go way too high, it's not gonna return at the rate you want. So you can play around with that. Generally, to advertise a property, it can be anywhere from $1 a day to you could be spending $20 a day and be able to generate a lot of leads from that. And I talked about the ad creative. So once I've reduced the placements as well, it'll show me previews of exactly which one, what all those different ads look like. So I see the main Facebook feed on there. I can change, is this going to be a single image that's on here? Do I want to put a video tour of the property? Maybe have some drone footage. Maybe you've put a more professional with like text and music and things like that. You could be able to display that here and advertise that to people. You could also do carousel ads that have multiple different images or even multiple different properties being advertised in a single ad. I haven't done much with collections and everything that's in there, so I won't talk about that one. But the placements, I can see exactly what it looks like with the text above, the text at the bottom, and the image, whether it be in the feed, whether it be in the right side column, what's going to show up if it's on Instagram. And if it doesn't look all right to me on there, I might remove one of those placements, or I might have to go in there and make some changes to it so it looks better. And showing a little bit more expanded here as well, as I can change the primary text up top. I'm showing just listed in Marengo, a little bit of the details. I tend to prefer to put some information about price on there as well as a means of filtering out leads, so they don't see that property and they're like, oh, that's a $200,000 house, or is that a $500,000 house, or is that $1 million house? And so I don't get a bunch of random stuff. I do tend to put the price. This was a $450,000 house, so I know that if I'm getting leads from it, they probably are looking at that price point because I've already put that information out there. I can change the headline. In this case, I didn't for it, but that would change the part that's to the left of where it says learn more down there, where I just show the property address. I don't tend to change that. I like to leave the address actually there so people can see and don't feel like I'm just creating up a bunch of different barriers to hide information from them. And I can also add an additional description below that as well for more details. I tend to just like the one that's up at top. And then I can change the call to action. There's a bunch of different ones on there. Download now. I think even sending a message through Messenger, I tend to just leave that as the learn more, which is the default one that goes in there. And then lastly, it's talking about the destination. There's different schools of thought about what you should be using on here. If I should be sending them to a landing page where it actually takes care of the conversion there. Once they get to my site, do I have an aggressive lead capture, a form that says they have to provide me with their information before they can see any of the details or any of the photos? Or do we extract that information when they're already on Facebook? So when they would click on that ad, it would first prompt up and it would be pre-populated with their information of their name, their phone number, and their email address that's already registered in Facebook. and then all they have to do is click a button to submit that information, and that sends to me. I can do it that way as well. Different schools of thought, like I said, you have bad contact information, they might still be registered in their Facebook account, and that gets sent into you, or they go to the site and they register there. You have to rely on them manually typing it in. Our website does still have the way that they can register using Facebook or their Google account information on the site. So we tend to still get the same type of information either way. I prefer to have them actually go to the website, because then I have the Facebook retargeting pixel that's on our site. So I'm able to advertise back to them again. So that is the end of the slides there. We'll cover a lot of information. Open for questions now, ahas. What you guys got for me? And my contact information is right there too. Joe, I think you're talking. Make sure you take yourselves on mute, off of mute.
I am. I was actually just going to say thank you very much for all the info, man, and I'm much appreciated. I heard somebody else speak, so.
My pleasure.
It was my, sorry, I feel like I interrupted. I'm Emily. I just wanted to thank you as well.
Thanks, Emily.
I have a question. So for just listed, things are often going pretty quickly from the market. So like, for instance, I have a listing that went into contract in one day. Is there still a benefit to doing any sort of just listed ad if you know that it's not really to sell the property because it's already being sold? Is there any other benefit to doing that?
Yes. So there definitely is. I wouldn't get into the practice of starting a just listed campaign after a home's already gone into contract. I would definitely make it part of your marketing campaign to do it early in it and to put it up as soon as it gets on the MLS and gets out there, and preferably before showings even begin. But I continue to run them for the duration I have scheduled, even beyond the point that they've gone into contract. So I might just set it up as being 7 days right off the bat and say it goes into contract on day 3 on there. You're still advertising, there's still people coming in, and that's kind of more what this is about, is trying to generate leads for yourself and for your business. And what better way than leveraging a property to be able to do that? So you do capture that. And I think it's that fear of missing out a little bit too. When they click on it, they go to your site and they find out, oh, that's already in contract. Like it creates some motivation in them to make sure, I got to jump on these things quicker. Or Jennifer here knows the properties in that area that are relevant to me. Maybe I should be talking to Jennifer. So you want to capture that information, reach out and say, hey, I saw that you register on our website. Thanks for visiting. I'm sorry to say that that property is already in contract, but I want to make sure you don't miss out on the next one that's out there. So are you looking in the area of where that property is and around that price point? And can I help to put other properties like it in front of you before they go into contract?
Thank you. That makes perfect sense.
My pleasure. Any other questions? I can't believe I actually got done within an hour. That's a first for me, I think. Well, cool. Well, thank you everybody for your time, for hearing me out on this. Forget if I need to, no, I don't think I was providing any other information, but if you guys ever need anything, I have questions about this stuff, all my contact information is right there. So.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you. All right. Everybody have a great day. Go sell some real estate.